We're shining bright, and we're shining the light on us like no other. Neighborhood Planet. Our neighborhood, our world. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Let's see. Let's see. I can't hear. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? You can hear me? I'm going to leave and come back. Still can't hear anything. I still can't hear. I can't hear.
there on jury duty. What was very interesting to me is the communication that came back from the jewelers, the people that were on the jury.
Yeah,
Oh, can everybody hear me now? Looks like we got Charles back
I
in the
can hear
building.
you.
All right. Look like everybody is live again. Charles, can you hear me? And hopefully y'all can hear me
Yes.
too. So, as I was saying, we were just going to move forward and start. And I'm just going to get Charles caught up with the conversation. And my conversation was mainly talking about voting because right now we're entering into voting. So now is the time. November 4th, we will be voting for the candidates and what is going on now. I'm having a bit of some delays. I don't know if it's coming from my mic, but I'm getting feedback. Charles, can you
Is that
continue to
better?
hear me?
Yes, I can
You
hear you.
still All right. So what's going on with you? I was trying to get people up to date on what's going on with voting, how important it is to get out to the polls, choose the candidates, try to do a little homework before you get to the polls so that you can vote and make sure your vote is going to be counted and you have taken time to study what is going on with that candidate so that you can choose the right candidates to vote for.
Right. And traditionally, I used to wait for the word, or they would send like a card in the mail and give you all the Democrats. I've been thinking about what you told me last week. You were saying don't wait for your grandmother's options or to tell you who to vote for. So I've been doing my homework, and honestly, it comes to you automatically with commercials, and you have signs in the yard, different yards, and things like that with people putting the word out, trying to spread the word about what they stand for, and I think it's just about aligning your own personal morals with just trying to find that candidate. There will never be a such thing as a perfect candidate, but just finding that right candidate that believes in what you believe in. So it's a little work, but it works out. It works out for all of us at the end. And I think traditionally we used to a lot of African Americans. We tend to go out and vote during presidential campaigns, and that's not the only important time to vote. Even though we're not voting for a president, but we still have to vote for other things that count as well. Like one of my things is simple as the community and homeless people being in on the streets and things like that. It's getting cold, and I can't bring everybody in my house, so there has to be something that we can do for people like that. And I found a few candidates here in Missouri that stand for what I stand for. So, and also in Georgia, there's a guy in Georgia that they had a debate the other night that was pretty interesting. So there's some debates going on TV. You can watch the debate, and that'll definitely give you an idea as to who you'd like to vote for as well.
Right. Taking the time out to listen to Herschel Walker's debate, then I'm sure you can make a good decision who you're going to vote for.
Right,
Because some people are just up there to be a puppet for others, and
right,
you really want to be able to study who their person is and what communication they have going on. If they're the smart candidate that you want to lead your party and doing what's good for your communities and also your state. So these are some things that you really have to look at because we get people that are have I don't understand how they've gotten to be a candidate. I think
right.
a test. As my husband was saying the other day, they need to take a test You know, before you get in college, if you have tendencies, you're not gonna make it. To college, and I think when you're trying to be a candidate of a state, of or of a city, county, whatever it is, I think you need to take a test first of all, an aptitude test, and we're going to start there. Because I know that we've had presidents that needed a test, and he didn't have to take that test, and it's concerning to me, why did he make it so far? Because when I looked at the presidency, I thought you had to be this almighty smart whiz kid in order to get there. But when that last president, before this one, got in the seat, you know, I saw differently in how they pick candidates. So it's very important that we try to vote for, the people we really need in place, to lead lead us. You know. Also, we were also talking about uh, being on jury duty. When you get that
Mm.
notification in the mail, a lot of people try to avoid being on jury duty.
Don't
And
they
and
pay you, Mom?
say that again.
Don't do they pay you for jury duty? I've never been on jury duty,
You
so
pay
I
you
have
for
no
jury
idea.
very minimal amount.
Mm.
They will pay you. It's like $15, $30 for a whole week, I think, or $30 a day if you're picked in the jury. $15 if it's just one day, and then your employer picks up the rest, if you're
Mm.
working, and you're excused from work, but the employer is to pick up that balance of your salary when you are
Mm.
on jury duty. So that's something that is in place. So yes, they do pay. They pay you $15 for being on the jury, but it's very important that we all, pay attention to that. And And reason why I had so much to say about being on a jury, because Friday I was on jury duty, and the comments that came from the individuals, which are the others that were also called in to be on the jury, when the judge asked certain questions about the accused or charged individual, then the feedback that came back from so many people when they hadn't even heard the case.
Mm.
This black guy, he was charged with premeditated murder,
Mm.
and the judge said, with only you hearing that, and you had the state versus the guy who was on the stand,
Mm.
who was charged actually. And the judge said to the audience, and it was about 80 of us chosen to be on the jury. And of course, I think it's about 12 of them that they picked to actually be on the jury, to help to try him in that case, or listen to the case to give him a fair trial. And she said, with what I told you, and that was only just telling them the state against such and such and such, who was charged with premeditated murder, would you say he's innocent or guilty? And there were so many people without even hearing the case said that he's guilty. So it's very important that, in hearing that, just think about yourself being charged for something that you didn't even do.
Mm.
So there are people out there that just going to charge you guilty just because you were charged. So be careful and understand how things play out in other people's lives, and how important it is for you to be that stable mind, I would say, person, to be able to help that person get a fair trial, whether they did it or not. Now, if someone did kill someone, premeditated murder, and it was premeditated murder, and he was charged accordingly, then yeah, you go to jail. I
Right.
would put it at that point, say you're guilty. But if there's a case where you have done nothing, and many people are locked up today for something that they didn't do, and they are charged with they have been convicted with doing something they didn't do, and all because there are people on the jury that would do that. And if you have a strong voice, it's very important that you are out there and you're speaking along with your jury peers, and you can say yourself, no, that's not right. And sometimes you'll change that, and that innocent person can go home. And if you can save one person by being in place at that time, it'll be good and it helps. But
You
I'm gonna
mentioned,
head on to the studio. Charles, you can take over the conversation because I'm gonna be moving around a bit. And
and
but I'm
okay,
still here
got
with
you.
everyone.
All right, I got you. I got you. And piggyback on what you just spoke about, I think that is earlier you spoke about an aptitude test. Is that how you say it? Aptitude test for presidents, and you almost want to have the same thing for a person that's on the jury. You never know if that person's mentally fit to decide the fate of your life. You don't know. You don't know. So I try to avoid even falling in situations like that altogether. Even though I know sometimes it's unavoidable, but I think there are some steps that you can take in your life to prevent yourself from being on the in court for premeditated murder, and that's just me being real. Um, I couldn't imagine my fate depending on somebody else, and you never know who. Like I said, you never know who's going to end up on the jury, or in the jury to decide if you're going to go to jail or not. But
Right.
yeah, so I think it boils down to making smart decisions in life every day. You never know if you go left, you may not make it. You go right, you live a healthy life. So you never know if you should take the left or right. But you got to pray to God and just stay focused in life and make sure you're doing the right things. And I think with those things combined, you'll be all right. I think I've managed to stay out of some mess.
Right.
by keeping God first.
Exactly. Try to walk
Mhm.
straight and narrow as much as you possibly can.
Right. And it gets frustrating to me sometimes when it's I'm used to doing things a certain way. And as you get older, you're like, okay, that doesn't fly at the age of 37. I'll be 37 next month. Y'all didn't know. But certain things don't fly at the age of 37, so you got to kind of manage what you're doing and make the right decisions in life.
Exactly. Exactly. It's 7, you say?
37.
Wow. Charles is
Mom,
old.
you have a 40-year-old son.
Yeah. Yeah. You're 40.
You
You're not
looking
40
good
yet,
to
because
have a
that'll make me old.
40-year-old. All right.
Yes. Thank you. Uh-huh. Yeah. Make me older. So yes. Yeah, and that, you got to think about those things. We tend to take for granted. We the other side of that gate. And, uh, even though we try our best to walk in the way that we have to, so many people has been charged. So many people has gone to jail and didn't even deserve it, and some of them didn't even
Right,
make it out.
right. And one thing,
Yeah, Charles,
and,
you were saying.
and one thing on the ballot is for Amendment 3. I know it's controversial here in St. Louis, but Amendment 3, voting yes for Amendment 3 will legalize marijuana for adults here. And I've heard a lot of different sides, and I understand both parties. But when you think about it, there's a lot of people that are in prison right now for maybe having a joint or in things like that. There's mothers that are even in jail for having a joint. Imagine you just getting off work, minding your business. You're a good person. You take care of your family, doing everything you're supposed to, and you get pulled over with a joint, and now you're in prison. And there's people that's been in jail for at least a year for something as small as having weed.
Right.
So with that amendment being passed, it's going to release so many people that for nonviolent crimes that just don't deserve to be in jail, in prison right now. So
Exactly.
and also Missouri, I think that Missouri can make a lot of money with on marijuana. A lot of states have made a lot of money and helped with the economy. And my main focus on it is I think that it will allow for taxes to decrease for low income houses, and that way the taxes can go down in the city and state and things like that because we're making a lot of money in other places. So I think there's a lot of pros, and I haven't heard any cons yet, but there's a lot of pros to voting yes for Amendment 3 in Missouri, November 8th.
Yeah. All
Yes.
right. Look like I made it in the studio, as y'all see. I am here
Safely.
and I am in a flesh. Oh my goodness, what a day, what a day. Sometimes these days can be a bit difficult, but and busy. I had a very busy day today. I'll be traveling tomorrow to Atlanta. My husband and I, we're going to see Gregory graduate. He is receiving his bachelor's degree. So we're very proud of him. And also, if anybody's in the studio, please reach out to us. We're looking for you. We've been waiting on you to come on in. So comment. Let us know you're in the
Right. So
studio.
like,
Also,
comment, and
Ebony may
share.
be joining us today. She had some pre-scheduled things going on, and she may be joining in. She was not sure if she'll be. She's completed her things that she had to do, but it's nice to see all of you in the studio. Got quite a few people in today. It's been kind of challenging getting in the studio today, but we're here and waiting on everybody to come in and join in. Let us know you're here. So there are a few people
Mom,
I'm looking for to be in the studio because I am looking for you girls. You had some conversations you want to talk about, and I'm going to bring those conversations here to the table today, and it's about relationships. So we tend to talk about
yep.
relationships quite often, but that is has been a lot of conversations over my phone. So I'll share it with some of you, and some of you may have want to chime in because you may be going through some of these experiences too, and it's dealing with relationships, and mainly it deals with men. Men in relationships with women. Men in relationships with women tend to, what I'm gathering from a lot of the conversations, and Charles, I'm sure maybe you may have some experiences too, or feeling what I'm saying about this because it goes on both sides. There are different things that different views that people have when they have in conversations, and that's the relationships of a man and a woman. When a man tend to get into a relationship with a woman, he settles himself as she's the woman, and that woman is to do a whole lot of things for him. I think it kind of stemmed from motherhood, what he's getting or he's feeling or experiencing with that woman because he has a mother. Some of them has a very, many people have very close contact with mom. Everybody go to mom for everything. Okay, you, they're very seldom running to dad. That's only when dad is the primary person in their lives, and mothers are sometimes more absent in relationships. Children tend to run to mom. That's the go-to in the household, and dad does too. He runs to mom. And with many men, they get into relationships sometimes, and I think when they have a breakup in that relationship, it's because they're feeling that detached feeling of losing that mom, and that's why it can be very hard for him to rehab after long-term relationships with women, because they've leaned on them in a way that this is mom and I'm losing mom. I'm losing all the attention that mom gives. Dad doesn't bother you as much as moms do. Moms will check on you. Moms will make sure everything's okay. Mom will prepare the food. Mom will make sure the kids are all dressed and the socks are on. And very few dads tend to take on those roles. Some of them don't do it at all. Some dads won't even change a diaper. They leave it up to mom. Of course, there are men out there, and I'm not just excluding men from great men from the duties that they do, but mom tends to do a lot. And in the relationships, breakup relationships that I'm gathering from some women, is that the men tend to uh, have a hard time getting over previous relationships when they're entering new relationships with another individual. And also, it's in the some men are more hands-on too. And when you break up in that relationship where a man was hands-on more so than a woman, people tend to hold on to that stronger person, being that more active person, I think, in that relationship, in their lives, period. Not just the relationship, just being that more active person in their life. And Charles, you can chime in this conversation and engage as well. How you feel about this comments that I'm bringing out here, because it does happen, and I'm seeing that men have been broken from long-term relationships, especially when you get older, and men go
Yeah.
through divorce. They go through
Right.
breakups because they've been through a long-term relationship, and a lot of men tend to get angry, or women, some women too. They've been in a relationship a very long time, and they're feeling like they've just tired themselves out to the point where they depart the relationship and they break up, and then they carry on an anger or carry on a bit of selfishness, and there's no more relationship I ever have. I can be by myself. I can pay my own bills, and we all can pay our own bills because they're our own bills.
Right.
So what do you think, Charles?
And what that's so funny, that comments that you just finished saying. I hear that a lot. That I don't need a person, I don't need a man, I don't need a woman. I hear that a lot. And most of those people that I hear say that, I see them spinning the block on their exes. And I've heard a lot of things that I do not agree with when it comes to spinning the block with an ex. And for whatever reason, that situation may not have worked out in the past, but that person evidently possesses something that like you said, they may have a motherly instinct about them, and something that's a strong hold on a man, and where that man can't tend to move on, and they'll always end up back with that in that bad relationship that didn't work out. You can have the best person in front of you, but for some reason they end up going back to the situation that didn't work. And so I'm finding that to be so common now that a lot of people end up going back to their exes. And and I don't understand it. I don't understand the logic behind it, because once I'm gone, I try to keep it going forward, in my life anymore for a reason. So I try to keep things so simple when it comes down to dating, and I try not to look for my qualities that my mother has in a person. I try not to go into a relationship with too many expectations, because I think these days we everybody has a long list of what they want their man or woman to be and or have, and be able to cook, be able to clean, wash my clothes, and have a decent job, and things like that. So there's just is so much. So I try not to have too many expectations for a person, because that can be a lot of pressure when you trying to get into a brand new relationship. You don't want to. I don't want to make a person feel like you have to fill these shoes of my mother once you in order to date me, because those are shoes that unfortunately no one else will ever be able to fill. So I think that I see it happening, but I just think that again, it boils back down to having going to therapy, and I think therapy will help with so many different avenues of of imbalance situations in your life. And if you're looking for your mother in a person in a relationship, I think that's some that's imbalanced, because maybe you didn't get something enough of love from your mother, so you're trying to get that love that you seek from your mother out of your relationship. So I think that when you talk about things like that, it can help in the long run.
Yeah. I I solely agree with you because that is true. People tend to lean on to that warm side. And when it's warm, you want to get under it.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to get under it,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people tend to get trapped in that, and their emotions are trapped in that too, and they cannot move on because they're still feeling all those great things that was happening in their relationship. And of course, people just don't take time to think about relationships in a way that um, when you have a relationship or when you have any type of dating, when you begin your life again, where you want to date, you want to be with someone, but your emotions are not there with that person that you're with. And it's because they are able to continue to proceed on to with the basics, the basic act of going out, of treating a person nice, of opening the door, but mentally they're somewhere else. Something that in dating you don't see. You don't If you can tap into a person's mind, what are they really thinking? They're opening the door,
Mm-hmm.
but in their mind, they're saying, I really don't want to be here. I wonder what she's doing. But they're with a different individual because you don't know what's going on, because the act of treating a person kind, how you show um, affection to a person. You can hold their hand, you can smile at them, you can tell them they're beautiful. And people tend to get into these relationships and not know what's really going on emotionally with the person. I think relationships and dating have to come to a situation where you want to know where that person is emotionally attached. Yeah, because you don't know. All you doing is going out and the young lady, she's happy to go out, she's on a date. This guy, he's a great guy, he treats me nice, he opens the door, he bought my meal, he paid my bill, he did all these great things. And you tend to continue to do that, and next week you'll do it again, and then the next week you'll do it again. A month later, you're still doing it, and he's still performing and doing all those things. But right behind him, what he never shared with you was emotionally what he was going through. Long
Mm-hmm.
term relationships have long term effects. And it's very hard for people to come back to their self and to exclude that person that they were emotionally attached to out of their
Mhm.
lives and out of their mind. Sometimes it can
Mhm.
continue to go on for years for some people. I
Mhm.
have a friend where she dated a guy that married a woman 4 times.
Wow.
So think about going on a date with a guy that married one woman 4 times.
Wow.
And he's not with that woman no longer.
My question is, did he tell her that on the first date? Those
Yes,
are things that, you remember we talked about the questions that you should tell on the first date. Tell me that
yes,
on
we
the
did. That
first
was
date.
on one of our shows. What do you need to disclose in first days you're going to date? He did. But he said he was ready to date, and he went on in that relationship with that lady. She dated him for a whole year.
Mm.
And after a year, a little bit over a year, he finally disclosed to her, but she ended up saying to him, because there were little times where he'd get really upset about things, actions that she would do. He would be really mad, uncalled for, um, anger. Some things just was uncalled for. And it
Sounds
went
like
on
faking
for
a
a whole
fallout.
year to the point where she finally said, you know, hurt people hurt other people.
Mm.
And she said to him, you really need to heal. And you know what he said? He agreed with her. Yes, I am still hurting. I do not feel the way you feel about me. And they
Mm.
broke up.
Mm.
And after a year, it hurt someone else. Now she had to go
Mhm.
through the emotions of a breakup, not being around this person, because what was he doing for her? He was flying her back and forth. He was buying the expensive gifts for her. He was opening the door and showing her, oh, he's such a good man. But that good man was going through some emotional traumas. And he, instead of him dealing with it and going to therapy, what is needed for him, he got into a relationship,
Mm.
because that woman that he was with, and bringing you back to that mother figure, he married her 4 times. His mother passed away when he was 12 years old.
Mm.
He was married to her motherly actions, I'll say.
Mm.
Her doing everything for him, looking out for him, looking out for the children. And it probably was hard for him. He kept marrying her over and over and over again. So when you're in these relationships, you have to think about those things. You have to think about when you're dating someone. Try to disclose as much as you possibly can. If a person is going through some emotional trauma, it's great to try to find out about that. Ask them.
Mm.
Ask them, what have you been going through? What's the last past relationship you've been through? What caused the breakup? How long was this relationship? That that is very good information, or something that you can decide if you want to move on with that person, so that you won't be also emotionally attached to a person that's a great person. Doesn't make him that it doesn't not make him a great person. He was just going through
I
some
think, I
emotional
think,
trauma. Yeah.
and you know what? It's when you think about trauma and stuff like that, whatever in dating, whatever trauma your partner has, that's going to automatically be your trauma. That's going to become your trauma as well. It's going to be just like you went through the same exact thing that person
Mm-hmm.
went through and experienced in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
I think, and I never looked at it like that. You know, I've always, every time I get in a relationship, I'm like, oh, they've been through a lot. Well, and I've never experienced anything like that. Well, if I just give them so much love to kind of make them, to smooth things over, maybe that'll heal that person, you know, which is the wrong mindset to have when it comes to dating and trauma, you know. So I learned that lesson, the hard lesson of allowing a person to heal. And sometimes it may hurt to walk away from a person that you really like. It may hurt so bad, you know, but you have to think about how that's going to affect your life. You know, at some point that's going to begin to bring your life down because of what that person is going through. So when you keep picking the one to date, it can be a serious one. I know this time around, I'm not spinning no blocks. We're doing full background checks. I need to see rap sheets. I need to see everything.
And it's important that you do that because so much is going on today. And it's sad that you have to, but it's important to do that in order to protect yourself and your feelings. You know, it's okay to get in a relationship and feel like you're loved and you're falling in love, but is that person also falling in love with you? Sometimes you can feel that. You see that already. If you're in an argument with a person and you're only 3 weeks in, you're probably going to be in an argument with a person every 3 weeks. You know, it's not going to change, you know, and so it's best to make a decision, even though you're looking to date, you're looking to have a mate, you really want to be with someone. Sometimes those were not great relationships. You need to take time and really look into that relationship and see if that's something you really want to get into. And there are plenty people in this world that God has made for you. If there is someone exactly for you, there's someone going through exactly what you're going through. There are a lot of people walk around and say, nobody's out there. Everybody's out there is no good. I don't think God made no good people and it's just left the no good people out there. If you go into a company and you do not like that company because of how people are acting, what's going on in there, what are you going to do? You're going to find another job. Find another person. Find another person. Because that's what dating is all about. It's not one trying time and that's it. I'm going to do this one more time. And you have a whole life to live.
That sounds like Russian roulette.
Right, Charles? Just give it up. No, I don't want to meet anybody.
That sounds like Russian roulette right there. No.
Yeah, so, you know, it's nice to communicate about things, you know, relationships and different people and failures, disappointments. You pick yourself up and you keep going and understand that everyone is not going to be exactly like you. We're not tied to the hip. You know, there are going to be disappointments in life, but you got to pick yourself up and keep going. You can't be so hurt, you know, because you feel like you're living in a small town. And I know a lot of people that tend to be hurt and don't want to date anymore. They live in a small city or they feel like they saw everybody in the city and they don't want to date anybody. No, but there's nobody in St. Louis. Ain't nobody in St. Louis. Everyone in St. Louis is saying nobody's in St. Louis. Every single person. Every single person is saying nobody is in St. Louis. And you know what? I hear that on a male and female end.
When you think about it, you don't want to go back and date Carlos from the classroom, the class clown. You know, you don't want to date the class smart person. Everybody's from school, you know, and it's like everybody knows everybody. But like you said, there's somebody for everybody. But when I think about it, I think back about every time you told me that, okay, y'all arguing already, this ain't gonna work. And I remember and I'd be like, she don't know what she talking about. This gonna work. We just having a disagreement. Everybody have disagreements. 3 weeks later, Another argument, and every 3 weeks, I'm like, you know what? I think she was right. If you arguing at the beginning, the very beginning of the relationship, it's going to end that way, the same exact way it
Yes,
starts, the same way it ends.
exactly. That relationship is going to end the way it started.
But to your friend, tell her to be strong, and tell her that your son has been through a similar situation, and the sooner she kind of admits to herself that, hey, that person is not the one, I think the better off she'll be, and that way she can start living her life and do things that she enjoy doing.
Right.
That's-
And she is, she's starting, as you said, before, she had to do the blocking. She's in order to heal, she had to block that all out because she would go and look at the pages. She would go back, see what he's doing, and the hurt was there for her, but she had to do something to help her to heal, and that was blocking him and not allowing him to call her even if he thought about it because she went through so much in that year's time just to
Mhm.
come to you're broke, we're breaking up. So, and as I was saying, it was a long distance relationship. That was some of the excuses that were made to because it was a long distance relationship. And as I said to her, I have a friend that dated a woman from a different state and they're still married and happy today. And I have other friends that has dated long distance and had long distance relationships and they are happy. What I do say is if there's no one in St. Louis, we have the world
The
to
world,
meet other
Craig.
and find someone that you can actually um, find to be in your life, somebody, a good partner.
Somebody
And
that can
maybe you
appreciate you.
and maybe they will move to St. Louis with you.
Ooh.
So don't believe that God only made so many great people. He's made many. And there's somebody out there for everybody. So
That's right.
always believe that. If you believe in that and in your heart as you believe in him, you know that there is someone out there. So I hope that kind of go away a little bit with people and dating because everybody needs someone. You don't need to die by yourself. We don't need a whole lot of single old folks.
Grumpy old folks.
Right. A lot of old folks. I have a friend that is now dating a childhood friend,
Mm,
and they are just as happy as they were in high school.
mm.
So you may want to go back and rekindle with your old mates that you had from high school if they're single. Some
Spinning the
of them
block.
are the same, some of them has changed, but some of
Mm,
them are the same. Try out some old schoolmates.
mm.
A lot of people don't like the e-harmonies, the Christian mingles, and they say it's all corrupt with a lot of people. Yeah, there are good people out there that's looking at that same website that you're looking at. It's going to take time to fiddle through those sites and find someone. And I'm sure there are others
You
out
know what?
there looking for the same.
You know what?
Yep.
Innovation. That's a good one. That's a good note on innovation. We got to create our own dating app that can fit whatever genre or whatever tribe or whatever type that you're looking for. And I think you know what? My thing is all about identity. That's like a big thing for me. That's my life about being real and authentic self. I think on social media, we tend to get a lot of people that pretend to be someone that they are not. And so with me, I tend to not put myself out there into the dating field because of that particular reason. That if you go on Facebook itself, popular people, they'll have 5, 10 different pages, profiles, and you don't even know which one is which, you know?
Wow.
So I think a lot of things, right. And I've come up with a few ideas how to cut down on identity, I guess, identity theft. If you're pretending to be somebody else, that's fake, that's fraud, you know? So I think that's a big deal. And that's the reason why I try to steer away from social media. I can have a person make a video for me, and a personal video, and say my name, say I love you. I still don't believe it, because it's just so much going on the internet at this point, you know. So, but yeah, just thinking of different ways to kind of get through that. I can go on all night about that one.
I'm sure you can. Yeah, so there's some good things. The good people out there, just try to put the little word out there for you ladies that's still kind of looking back, and you young men out there too as well, older men too. You're out there looking for a date. You still got to understand. You can't walk around and say, "Oh, these women aren't any good." I read a
Right.
lot that men tend to say that, "Oh, these women aren't any good. All they want is money. All they want is you to do something for them." It may be true for that person that you've gone out with, but there's another woman that don't want you to do all that for them.
But I
Just
think
go
that
Dutch
both
dating.
parties want
When you
something.
call and say, "Look, this is a Dutch date." What is Dutch dating? You pay your way, I'll pay mine. So
Right.
start that. Start some Dutch
Ma, that
dating.
sounds like that sounds a lot like a prenup.
Yeah, well, that's all right. If you want a prenup date, go on and prenup date, because if you're feeling as though you don't want to give another, you went on so many dates, you spending so much money on all these dates, and now you run out of money, and now you want these women to pay their own way, then you just let them know in that conversation, those phone calls that you're having with her. Yeah, but well, I won't be paying for everything this time. So, is everything okay with your finances? Or are you able to buy your own meal?
What if she says no? You still gonna go?
Well, then you start to think about, you want to evaluate that
Yeah.
individual. Are you here to take care
Yeah.
of that woman if she becomes yours?
Hmm.
Because at that point, you should be in a situation where you want to ask questions. So you ask those questions, see if that's the person you want to be with, and then I guess then add that there. Like, yeah, take it that way. It's a way you can evaluate new relationships and in dating. So that's something you can start with. Dutch dating, prenup dating.
Well, you never know. I might get lucky, you know, for my birthday this Christmas. I might be under the mistletoe. You never know.
Right. You may be under the mistletoe or just under the toe.
You know, at this point, either one to do. Either one to do. At this point, either one to do.
It is getting cold. It is getting cold. So I know
Right.
y'all gonna want somebody warm to be close to.
Last night we had our first freeze. It was 30 degrees last night. So you know it's coming.
Woo! Got a bit nippy down here too. We got I think it got about 68. I last saw our temperature down here. And it's pretty cold for me. Yeah,
Those
I'll be in
days,
Atlanta tomorrow. I wonder what the temperature is. I gotta buckle up, put my big coat on.
right. I remember those days, 60 degrees, and we had on earmuffs and gloves and 60 degrees, looking
I could
crazy.
have had on a coat today. I could have had on a scarf and coat today. 68 degrees. Yeah, I was freezing. I was
Now I
freezing.
see
And
people
look,
with
I wore a
shorts
long
on.
sleeve. I also wore a long sleeve today, but I was cold. But you know what? This is just about to end our show, and look like we have someone who have chimed
Uh-oh.
in, and that is
That's Diane. She
Kimberly.
said,
My sister, and what is she saying? Make sure you keep that gas bill paid. And I guess whoever has gas out there, keep your gas bills paid because it look like you might get shut off because it's pretty nippy. Or
And
I
gas
guess the
fuel
other
and
way
light
to
bills.
keep warm, and that's the gas bill when you open the stove.
Yes, it is.
Well,
And
down here we
gas
only have
bill,
electric, so I don't have to worry about any gas bill down here.
gas is high. Gas is expensive these days.
Really?
Even electricity is expensive as well.
No, electricity is not that expensive here. So
Yes,
yeah, we
when it
do
gets
pretty
cold,
well.
all the bills go up.
Hmm. So yes, we had a great show today, and we did get some viewers. And as we say, like, comment, and share our videos. We like to hear from you as well, even if we're not in the studio. You can review our videos and please leave comments. And also, you can send donations to Smart Black Woman TV. We also accept donations. So if that's something you would like to add to our show, we would be very thankful. We're moving into Halloween in a couple of weeks, and the chill will come on. Make sure your children are safe. If you do some trick or treating, be very safe. Some people do trunk or treating, and also we see children in the malls, in the grocery stores. Safe places for you and your children to kind of hang out if you're kind of nervous about knocking on people's doors. So these are some safe tips for everyone. We wish you a happy pumpkin day. We'll see you next Wednesday. And everyone, be great and be good. Thank you for
Good
joining
night.
me. And Charles, you'll say
Good
bye.
night. Bye. No, have a good night, guys.
We're shining bright. And we're shining the light on us like no other. Neighborhood Planet. Our neighborhood, our world. Programs like this are made possible by Neighborhood Planet Broadcasting Systems, Neighborhood Planet Network, iBlisters Digital Media Creative, and from contributions to NPNTv from viewers